You are watching our college football early national signing day special, James. I think that was a sentence.
Yeah, I think it was too, Tom. Exciting day so far. Got going this show with Zack Harrison, the five-star player, number 4 player in America, picking the hometown Ohio State Buckeyes. That got the show started. We're going over the top 25 recruiting classes, Tom, and we're going to look at Justin Fields, last year's number 2 recruit. Could he be headed out the door? Could we be talking about him somewhere else? But first, take it away. We're going to look at Ohio State's recruiting class.
Yes, indeed. And right now, they currently sit in that top 15. They've done a good job. They did lose some commits earlier today, and that's a big blow for them. They sit number 14 in the nation as we stand. The big reason why they're vaulted them from number 19 up to 14 was that massive commitment of Zack Harrison, the 5-star defensive end. That was a big get. We'll go through some of their other recruits, James, but overall the Buckeyes in very, very good shape. Maybe not the national rank that they're used to. Not being in that top 5 is kind of unusual for the Buckeyes. They did lose some notable players, but overall, James, the Buckeyes having another very quality recruiting class.
Yeah, definitely quality. Zack Harrison helps, Tom. But this is a step back a little bit for Ohio State. They have been number 1 in the Big Ten for much of the past 10 years, Tom. Certainly under Urban Meyer, they've been the number 1 class pretty much every year. Top 5 class pretty much every year. Number 1, 2 class in the last couple of years. So a lot of underclassmen talent there in Columbus. Maybe this had to be a little bit of a smaller class for them, Tom, because they've gotten such strong classes the last 2 years. But I think this is a small step back. Ryan Day is going to be he's going to be looked at next year. 2020 has got to be a big-time class. They've already lost 2 commits from that 2020 class, the juniors, for next year since Urban Meyer stepped away. But today they got Zack Harrison, who can be maybe like turning the tide back in their favor.
And the expectations are going to be massive for the Buckeyes because if you don't win the Big Ten, it's considered a failure. And if you lose 2 games, it's almost considered a failure. Yeah. Where most programs, that's a roaring success of the season.
Think about them in the college football playoff era, Tom. They've gone
always
from
been in the mix.
National title to should have been in the playoff, lost a stupid game to Michigan State in 2015, to didn't even win the Big Ten title in the playoff, to runner-up to get in 2 years in a row Big Ten champion. So they are one of those teams, like I said, with Oklahoma, Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State. Those are pretty much the 5 teams. Now Georgia getting into the mix. As you can guarantee every single year, they're going to be in the top 5, 6 for a playoff spot, if not being in the playoff every single year. Zack Harrison is the guy we're talking about, Tom. You see here on screen, the number 1 uncommitted player coming in to this 2019 early signing day here on December 19th. He commits to the Ohio State Buckeyes over Michigan, over Penn State. Was a long-time lean to Michigan, if you believe the sources like our own Michigan football report. But nevertheless, Tom, he decides to stick with stick close to home. The hometown Buckeyes get his signature on a piece of paper, and he will be counted on to make an impact at Ohio State very early on. I think that's the question that is on the minds of a lot of Ohio State fans here. And we're going to ask you, the Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and live on Twitter audience, will Zack Harrison make an instant impact, Tom? Instant impact next year. Type Y for yes below. Type N for no. If you're a Michigan fan, just start hitting that N button nonstop. N, enter. Because of course, he wasn't a good player. Harbaugh didn't want him, if you believe the message boards.
$sign EC, right?
$sign you, Tom, if you believe the Michigan fans, right? They paid for him. But nevertheless, Zack Harrison sticking close to the Ohio State Buckeyes. Seemingly a pretty good kid. Not one of these flashy players tweeting all the time doing this stuff. Kept his recruitment very close to the vest the entire time. Low-key, right to the point. It wasn't one of these long, drawn-out announcements. They were on and announced within 5 minutes earlier when we brought it to you live here on Chat Sports. Will he make an impact? Type Y for yes. Type N for no, Tom. He is not the only big-time player in this Ohio State class. They have 5-star wide receiver out of the state of Texas, right out of Texas's backyard.
Lake Travis,
home of shout-out Baker Mayfield.
All kinds of good players.
Also, Ohio State's quarterback that they brought in the 2018 class from that same high school, a 4-star. So his teammate,
Matthew Baldwin, right?
Yeah, the Baldwin. Yep, that's right. So certainly they have got some inroads at that high school. And what's Texas doing? You miss out on Baker Mayfield. I know he wasn't a big-time recruit, but 5-6 years later, you're missing another quarterback and a 5-star wide receiver. Garrett Wilson is going to the Ohio State Buckeyes, Tom. And if they can get 5-star wide receivers out of Texas, out of other states, that's just going to continue their dominance over the Big Ten.
The Buckeyes have done such a fantastic job of recruiting in the state of Texas, which I think is a must-do for all the major programs because there's just so much great talent in the state of Texas. Garrett Wilson, the number 16 overall recruit in the nation, the number 2 wide receiver, the number 1 kid from Texas. If you can land the top player from Texas almost every single year like the Buckeyes have done at times, that's pretty darn impressive.
Yeah, for sure. So that is, by the way, we've got to fix that graphic. He is not 6'5". He is 6 foot and a half. So he's 6 foot and a half inch. But nevertheless, 6 feet tall. He reminds me, Tom, of these wide receivers that Ohio State put on the field against this year with this new passing attack under Ryan Day. Very fast, very shifty. You give him the ball over the middle, Tom, and he can break a tackle or two and take it 60 yards to the house. He is going to fit very well, Garrett Wilson, in Ohio State's new passing-first offense under the new head coach, Ryan Day, the 6 foot, 181-pound, 5-star wide receiver, number 1 player in the state of Texas. Out of Texas' backyard is headed to Ohio State. Tom, one of 3 5-star players in this Buckeye class. Also on the offensive side of the ball, we've got Harry Miller, the number 5-star offensive center. He's going to come in and shore up that Ohio State line that's had some challenges. Certainly this year they were not
could lose Michael Jordan to the NFL draft. No, not that one, guys, but the other Michael Jordan, and could be an early path to playing time there.
Yeah, and
or
Tom,
at least a guard potential.
Another 5-star though, this time out of the state of Georgia. So number 6, 7 5-stars in the state of Georgia alone. Ohio State steals the number 2 player out of the state of Georgia, 5-star Harry Miller. Tom, you said it yourself. If Michael Jordan goes pro, you could see him get some snaps. I think if you're bringing in a 5-star center, which is kind of it's like quarterback. Only one of them usually plays, and usually centers don't switch around all the time. I think Harry Miller is a guy who's definitely going to get on the field in this 2019 class, and will compete for a starting job if one becomes available there in Ohio State. But big-time future ahead for Harry Miller, part of the number 14 Ohio State Buckeyes recruiting
with
class.
a chance to rise up the rankings as well as we get to the normal National Signing Day period.
Sure. I mean, they've got time, and with Ryan Day just getting on the job, he is going to go after big-time quarterbacks. He is going to go after more players on the defensive side once this early signing period is over. Get into January, because, Tom, we're actually like on a silent recruiting period now. You can't even talk to players until right after New Year's, so not going to make anything happen after signing day. But once we get into January, more of the recruiting visits, bring people on, Urban Meyer's to the door. This is my program now. So Ohio State has an opportunity to move up the rankings. But as we stand now, Tom, the Buckeyes, with their 14 players committed, 3 5-stars, and adding another 8 4-star players, add Zack Harrison today, they are our number 14 class in the 2019 early signing day period.
Rallied with the addition of Zack Harrison, but this morning did not go the way I think Buckeyes fans wanted or expected. We'll start off with the Jordan Battle loss for Ohio State. I think related directly to the Dax Hill flip. He was at Bama, or is it Michigan, then to Bama, then back to Michigan, and then Bama flips Jordan Battle, the 4-star safety, to the Crimson Tide. Ohio State loses him, and they've had a lot of attrition at the defensive back spot because they've had so many guys declare early and go to the NFL. They would have liked to have brought in Battle. Yeah, and Tom, these guys have not their current players have certainly not announced for the NFL, but they have as many as 3 of their defensive backs that started this year that could leave early for the NFL draft as safety and both quarterbacks. So they definitely needed Jordan Battle if those guys all head early. What Ohio State had, like 7 first-round guys in the secondary in the last 3 drafts, 4 drafts, something like that. Yeah, it's insane. I got a number of top 10 picks there. So Ohio State definitely has the reputation for turning these guys out. But when it seemed for Alabama that Dax Hill was not, according to sources, Dax Hill had told Alabama he's not signing with them. He wants to wait till February. I think that was their signal. Something's going on here. If you're with us, you're signing today. They went hard after Battle over the last 3 or 4 days, got the flip. So really, Michigan's gain is doubly because Ohio State loses a player because they replaced Dax Hill, Alabama does, with an Ohio State. And that rough start parlays right in here to the Georgia maybe finding a Justin Fields replacement. Dwan Mathis flips from Ohio State to Georgia. Yeah, and Tom, do they know something? Yeah, Ohio State fans are spinning this as Mathis was told by Georgia coaches that Justin Fields, the 2018 big-time quarterback recruit, was leaving. He was going to Ohio State. He'd have to battle with him. And the Georgia quarterback position, it looks ripe now, Tom, because if Fields does indeed walk away from Georgia, this is kind of 2 recruiting classes. Mathis is going to be the only guy there going forward. So after Jake Fromm potentially leaves early for the NFL draft after the 2019 season, I assume he will. Yeah, Dwan Mathis becomes your heir apparent potentially, unless they add another commit, of course, unless they get a grad transfer. But Mathis kind of has the path to be Georgia's starting quarterback 2 years from now.